till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways.
Tell me if you can see that.
Yep. Oh,
Oh, no.
we
I
start the
did for a second.
podcast with some waffles.
Breakfast.
Starting the podcast with some waffles.
In a
I
moment,
like it.
make waffles.
Nothing.
Oh,
better
so
than-
much better. So much better.
Yeah, the green screen stuff is still their tech is still needs some tweaking. But welcome back for another week. We have 3 of the sexy 4 men, so you can still fantasize about us. It's just one less bearded man. But yeah, how you guys doing? Since I've talked to you multiple times over the past week, but for the people at home it's been a whole week that they've had to be without your presence and your brilliance, how have you been? How have you been?
Grand.
Yeah.
Never better.
Good.
Oh man, things are looking up right now.
I love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. Solid.
I'm joking, but I think it's actually true a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. No, I also believe. I believe. How about that?
Yeah.
I also believe. Evil, you doing good?
I mean, yeah. I finally got this PC all put together.
Yeah, you got a
part
man with
that
a new
have been-
PC. That's always exciting.
All the boxes of Amazon that have been collecting in my living room are finally, well, they're still in my living room, but they're open and scattered everywhere now.
Yep.
So
Well, I know the process.
hopefully
Alright.
this is more crisp and
Looks good, man.
sounding.
You do. You look good.
Looks
You look
good to
good.
me,
Sound
yeah.
good. Oh, and I forgot to do this last time. This is a Grey Cliff. I don't remember the name of it, but it's part of a 5 cigar anniversary thing. So oh look, it's shiny and metallic and has a cursive like G on it. Anyway,
You're
very
so
good. I love
manly.
I love Grey Cliffs, by the way. They are
Yeah.
exceptionally good. So yes, for people who don't know, I actually like the format we had on the last one. I think it worked pretty well. I think we're going to do some element of that. I mean, we're still working on it, so maybe this period will be a little bit shorter. I don't know, but it kind of, we start off with a little bit lighter, get you in, get you comfortable, get you a beer. I'm fat, so I'm watching my calories to Modelo Oro, so it's light.
Modelo Especial.
Uh-huh.
La Agua
Mm.
de Bottle.
But so we'll probably start with some social media commentary videos, just like something that everybody can just doesn't really matter. It's not deep, it's not soul searching, and then we'll probably get into a little bit deeper of a thoughtful conversation as the podcast goes. Once everybody's settled in and got their snacks and their booze and all that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and light up my cigar real quick. See, watch. Oops, everybody look at the fire. Fire is always interesting. Everybody loves fire.
See, that's what I should have gotten snacks.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you say that, I'm like, I want to go get some food now.
You gotta be talking. I need your mouth empty.
Number one addition to my gym buddy and I's hangout nights has been the addition of rice cakes. Snacks go a long way.
Rice cakes are amazing. I don't know
Fantastic, dude.
how they got a bad rap, but they are.
They're light. They're
Yeah.
easy.
They're
delicious.
crunchy, salty.
There's something.
fun to
There's
eat.
something wrong about the texture.
No, not
I
for me, man.
I don't know what it is, but it's just like it's too crunchy to such a lightweight thing. It's like a bad potato chip.
It's magic. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It is the wrong side of the potato chip. Is what
Not me, man. I can jam them, especially if you get the little ones. Like how you get the little ones and that are like cheddar flavored away, and they're extra crunchy. They're like extra crispy. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, I don't like the crispy ones. I like the
really?
soft.
So you like that?
I like the. Yeah, yeah.
I like-
yeah. It's like baby food.
Yeah, I
you
know
It's
exactly
like
what you're
little
talking about,
baby
but it's so
stars.
funny.
It's like,
I did 2 audible that neither one were particularly great, but they were good enough that you got what I was talking about.
I can practically see like a mom taking out a little container and just twisting off the lid,
Mhm.
and there are the baby stars for the kid to eat. It's like that's me and my
Me-
buddy after the
yay.
gym.
All right, let me open up this lovely screen share that Discord does, and then hates me for it. All right, we're gonna start with a little Duke Gomez, only because it's related to stuff we talk about all the time.
Okay.
So
Problem is with today's generation is everyone's hanging out with a bunch of yes men. You can't hang around a bunch of yes men. You can't do it. You gotta hang out with someone that's gonna put you in your fucking place. You gotta hang out with someone that's gonna ruin your vibe but save your fucking life. For example, a girl's Instagram page, the comment section is the fakest thing in America, man. The chick will look 400 pounds. Everybody's in the comment section saying, "Oh my God, you look great, Becky." Nah, Becky, you're gonna die soon, sweetheart. You're gonna die. So sometimes you gotta hang around with that one person that's gonna tell you look like shit. And it's great. It might fuck up your vibe, but it's gonna save your life. I don't know. I've always hung around people that'll just let me know when I look like shit, or, they're honest with me. That's my vibe. Happy Tuesday. I love yous.
all right, so
What a New Jersey way to put it.
yeah, no, I mean,
It's
I actually like that's what he's kind of famous for. He's just very
Really?
blunt. He takes all these like goofy, I mean, both men and women. The men who do the, he's like, "You're gay," ugh! Just like he just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gets angry and. But I think the point he makes here is very good, and I think we've talked about this amongst ourselves that like honesty and having integrity amongst your friends is important. Having people who will hold you accountable, but do it in the right way. I mean, where they actually have your best interest at heart that's a valuable life skill. That is something you need to truly like go forward and be successful in life. Is having people around you that will tell you when you're fucking up, basically. I hope this isn't too early in the podcast to say that, but anyway, probably too late now. It's there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of saw that and thought, man, that guy says some stuff that we've said to each other more or less.
Yeah, no, I mean it's absolutely true. I hope it's a sentiment that's echoed among many groups around the world because I think it's absolutely true. But I suspect it isn't. He's right about the Instagram posts. But my only experience with them was when I was in high school because when I got out of that situation. But when I was in high school, there was not a single girl who had any sort of feed on their posts that was any different from "You're amazing, you're incredible, you are wonderful," just over and over, and they would just go through the cycle, right? Oh, Teresa said it first this time. Okay, then and the second thing I could say that's now gone too. Sammy said that. Oh, and the third thing I had on tap that's gone too. And it would if you went from one post to another, it's the same 4 or 5 things that are being said in repeat over and over. And I mean, I can't help but think certainly you must know that it's not true.
Genuine.
right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not
Certainly you must
genuine.
know.
What good?
Everyone needs to be uplifted now
Mhm.
and then. But that is so fraudulent. I think it takes away all effort, like all
Well, it takes away the
genuine-
value too, right? If someone's
Yeah.
always positive, then you don't know that you can really trust that. Like you need the people. You get even more out of someone who has told you, like, "Hey, you're fucking up," or "This isn't right." When they
Yeah.
do compliment you, it means
Yeah.
more because you know it's genuine, as opposed to someone who's always blowing smoke.
That's my MO for life, dude. It's
Oh, yeah,
my MO
yeah.
for my social view. I get you.
Anything from the big.
So
yeah.
many of us just. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who can't deal with that kind of discomfort, and they just sit inside their own echo chambers. And honestly, it's not. I don't think it's geared towards any one specific group or another. We all do it. Like most of the time, we don't want to look at something that's uncomfortable. We don't want to consider the options that are actually out there to improve ourselves, just because it's might be a little antagonizing or
Yeah.
Right.
make us squeamish. So I agree with the sentiment, but I mean I'm guilty of this as well. So
We all are, right? Yeah.
For sure. Okay. So this is an interesting. I know I don't have it up yet. I'm trying to see if I can find the overall. Oh, okay. So there's two back to back that I'm going to kind of touch on. Let's see. All right. Oops, popped it up. So now people can see it. So this is one, right? And this has kind of been a debate online for a lot of things. They're talking about like the baby boomers say Gen Z are lazy, and people are like, well, baby boomers you didn't have it as hard as we have it now, right? I'm going to tell you my perspective is I think it's a little bit of both. It is a fact that inflation has caused, like, is went at a faster, higher rate, so that the cost of certain items like a house or a car, etc., are more expensive compared to the median income, compared to when they were around. But I also think expenditures and expectations of what it means to work hard have decreased a little bit too. That's what this guy's like, hey, the baby boomers lived life on easy mode, and they think you just need to work harder. And then it said he found his dad's household monthly budget from 1989, and it kind of shows his money. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, in '89 though, people were making an average of. This guy said the median household income in 1989 was $29K. So it's like now it's around 50. It's the median household income is almost doubled. But I will say the prices for housing has over doubled. So it has, like, it's not completely one or the other, but there's let me scroll up a little bit here. Yeah, this final one. So I mean, the guy's name may get us in trouble. I won't say it, but talking about kids buying Lambos on loan, eating out 3 meals a day, and buying clothes that cost more than rent. And he was kind of talking about this topic, and I would even go as far to say the way people buy coffee, right? Like, people still think you have to go out and buy a $4 or $5 cup of coffee in the morning instead of make a 50 cent to $1 cup at your house. And that is an element that let me click back down so we can see your guys' lovely faces. Oops, here we go. So I don't know. I don't think it's an either or. I find that both sides try to argue, like, aggressively that it's, not entirely their fault, but I think it's like it's a little bit of both. Like, things are a bit tougher now, but there is also, like, the mentality we have. I mean, we know somebody who said he wanted an Xbox in every room, right? I mean, that's insane. I have to have certain brand of, luxury clothing or car or, expenditure. It's like, we also think of things in a different way now. We expect more as, like, oh, you have to have this much stuff just to be comfortable. And it's like, no, not really. So I do think there's an adjustment there that's, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you have any take on it?
my first takeaway. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
You just bought a house, right? You just
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just took the plunge.
And it honestly, like, the reason I'm able to do it is because, and I even said this whenever I mentioned, like, hey, I'm 35, bought my own house by myself. Well, like, it just because I don't spend money in places that, aren't at least acceptable as far as my scale of living. Um, in other words, I don't spend out of my own price bracket. Um, as far as what people are, as far as what people are doing with their money, we have such a fundamental breakdown at the level of what we're supposed to be learning as far as economics go. Instead of teaching actual how to manage your own money, we're teaching people, oh hey, here's this capitalist thing, and because there's a lot of money out there and it's not yours, it's evil. So it's like that's not really it's not really the playbook for success. And
Yeah.
and spending your money wisely is fundamental 101.
Oh, go ahead. If you want to say something.
No,
I don't
that
know.
would be.
I was
by
gonna
all
say, I do
means.
think there is a society has sped up, and I don't think in a good way, to where we are less patient. And so when we see and we get to see all these people in their moments of success. So we see, and there's a lot more fake out there, right? So we also assume that more people are actually living lives with their Lambos and their, $3 million houses and their whatever. We don't. It used to be like, yes, by the time you hit your 50s, if you've worked your whole life and you've been paying towards and building towards this, then you can maybe get a nicer car. Or if you build a big company, that's something that's just everybody uses, you go, oh, you deserve it because you did something exceptionally special. Whereas now we have this mentality, you've seen a lot of the videos where like the expectation women have of men, like how much they make. It's like,
Yeah.
you're in your mid 20s and you
Silly.
should be making
Yeah.
6 figures, and it's like
Yeah, it's kind of
that's like nobody. Like nobody does that. And I just think we in general have this expectation of like, I should be at this high level of success now. And instead of going, oh no, this takes time of being, you have to budget early in your life, and it's a process to build to that point. And so I do think like just society in general has a much rushed mentality towards getting what we want. We don't want to wait. You DoorDash and you Amazon your
That's
movies.
exactly what I was gonna bring up. DoorDash, Uber, Uber Eats, Amazon. I do think the patience has gone down a huge, huge, huge amount. And the idea of investing money to save it for later to then use on something big is pretty gone,
Mhm.
All the paper money I've gotten in the last probably like 15 years. If I ever get paper money, I throw it in my safe, right? I've done that for 15 years.
That's smart.
I checked it the other day because I was like, eventually, my plan was to use it for a wedding ring. Eventually, I was like, I don't know when I'll need one, but that's what I'm saving for. I'm gonna use it on a wedding ring, and it was more and more like, come on, like, who am I getting married to here, right? So I was like, all right, well, I'm getting this tattoo, right? That's what I broke into it for. For the first time in 15 years, I spent money on the tattoo, and I was counting it, and I was like, dude, I have a fuck ton of money in here, right? Like, this is not insignificant. This is like pretty good. And it's because I had this idea of I'm gonna save up for something big later down the line, One thing I did want to throw in, my mom's fiance owns a landscaping company, right? So he mows lawns, does hedges, everything.
Keep going.
He told me a story about how one of his first years doing it, he went to this place nearby, very rich community, right? And he was doing one of the houses in there. Guy had 5 like supercars in the garage. He had a fountain, right, in his front yard, with a circle driveway, right? Dude had someone detailing the cars, right? And my mom's fiance went around, did the lawn, and said, okay, that it's going to cost you $200, right? This is a fairly big property. It's going to be $200. And the guy said, okay, here you go, gave him a check. And guess what? That check bounced, right? The guy did not have $200 to pay him. I do think, but I wonder how people look at that person, right? And then feel awful about their own lives when they have no idea what's really going on.
He's actually living
behind the
paycheck to
scenes.
paycheck. Crazy as it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that there are unfortunately real highlights of that sort of lack of wisdom. And I think it's unfortunately quite natural for us to be beasts of comparison and to look at that and to wonder. And I think that's playing a huge, huge part here. I also wonder to what degree it's just housing that's really having the biggest thing here, because housing, I think, is what's really fucked right now, right? Just insanely. You know, I doubt the price of groceries, the spending power that a family has is that much different from what it was, except that rent and mortgage costs so much more. So I wonder if housing is skewing everything.
I also
to one
think
direction.
vehicles cost like the cost of vehicles has just because I remember back when I was first getting mine when I was 16.
Yeah.
A $10,000 car was like pretty nice. Like you were getting a fairly new, like maybe 10,000 miles, maybe even new. You could probably get like a low, specialty new. And now it's like you're looking at 50, 60K for just a decent get around.
My 2015 Toyota Corolla new was 20 grand.
Mm-hmm. And that was what, just less than a decade ago. I guarantee you that you probably
exactly
can't.
A decade.
Well, my sister did get, so she just bought a new car. And it was some sort of Mitsubishi. It was tiny. She wanted something tiny. She likes tiny car. And it had about, I think, 20,000 miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
And she got she got it for a little over 10K, I believe, which is a good deal. But she did have to wait 2 weeks and drive it for 2 weeks in the middle of the summer when we had 90 to 95 degree heat without air conditioning. Because they were like, we're going to repair the AC on it, but we have to wait, for a part, for the mechanic to be ready, to blah, 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 so on and so forth. But she was willing to make that, and she bought it outright because she really doesn't like owning or owing people something.
Debt.
But it is, I mean, I guess technically it's possible, but she had to do some shopping to find it. And most people would not be happy with what she had because she likes the tiny car. Most people don't want the tiny get around. This does a job. I just like my own little. We used to call her other egg. Her other car the egg because it was this white little, like it looked like an egg. So I think your average person is probably looking at least 30, 40K for a decent car, and I feel like that has went up a little bit, like quicker than regular natural inflation. There's some things I know. Like talking about, I've been watching people talk about the Fed and not changing the interest rates, and that has like long-term investment stuff that has some of that's also an impact on your like retirement funds. That kind of stuff has been affected. But yeah, I kind of agree. I think the ability to, what's the word? There's a term, delayed gratification.
Yeah, the marshmallow test.
Yeah.
Classic.
And I remember someone saying that is one of the biggest signs, like consistency, of people who have gotten wildly successful or even like upper end successful, is that they have a high degree of gratification. They're willing to delay their gratification. And the people who are very poor and very off have the exact opposite. They struggle with any kind of, and when that comes, that's also like personal gratification. Like you don't bark at somebody just because they disrespected you or whatever. You learn to like control it, and it's also emotional gratification as well. And yeah, I think that is like a big element of what has gone missing in modern society, is the like that it's a good thing to delay your gratification. Like we should respect people who are like, oh no, I'm putting money away and that's why I'm driving this jalopy because it gets me from point A to point B. That does the job, instead of being like, ew, what is there? It's like, oh, I get it. You're building for you're smart. You're going to actually be more comfortable later on.
I do wonder to what degree it is that we don't know it versus that we don't do it. Like, is it the case that we really, as a society, we've forgotten it, or is it the case that we know it but we just don't do it? Right? Like, I would always ask my students, do you think social media is good for you? And they would undeniably say, no, it's bad for me. And I would say, why don't you get off it? And they'd say, it's a great question. It's a great point. And yet they don't do it. Right. Mm-hmm. So I wonder which scenario we're in here.
I believe it's a bit of both. I think it's another bit of both, because I do think there's some, whether it is trailer parks or inner city, okay? Yep. You see that those people have the least amount of gratification delay in their lives and I do think some of them just have like they don't even think about it. They haven't been taught. It's not been because it's like
Agreed.
they haven't even been taught. So I do think it depends on how far up the scale and what, if you've been introduced to the idea.
Yeah.
Now I do think some of them probably have been, and they may not have been told that term, delayed gratification, but they have been told, save up for later, put this off, don't spend it all if you don't have it. And I do think they just ignore it because you don't get pussy if you ain't out there
Absolutely.
slinging that money, getting those big bottles at the club,
Yeah.
So I do, I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's less focus as a society on it. Like you see it less in shows, you see it less in discussions, but so it's not as positive. It's not presented as like this is something you should aim for. But also, there's a bit of natural. It's almost like a natural law, right? And so we should, to some degree, understand it just on a human existential level. But I don't know what's. I guess Cuddy Teddy Bears are you? Yeah, go ahead. You have anything?
No, I mean it's almost taboo to talk about it. Like if you're admitting that hey, I have to watch this, it's
You're right.
It's almost like
You're
there's
right.
something wrong with you. Like,
Oh, you're
hey,
cheating.
Or a
you know,
loss. I mean,
you can't afford.
you're
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say the same thing about sexual promiscuity, though, right? I mean, if you delay it, those tend to have the sexual relation or marriages with people who have the lowest sexual partners have the longest last. They last the longest, and they have the least amount of divorces compared to people with high. They have the so I wonder because that is also instant gratification, right? That's also you're delaying it until you know that you're really with the person, and you have the emotional connection. I mean, it's just it's a numerical stat. It's a fact that's
No, I'm good with the numerical stat. I wonder because I think there are some confounding variables to that, right?
Okay.
Like, I think it could be very well the case that the two people who get married who have had the lowest number of sexual partners are fucking ugly and couldn't pull elsewhere. So we're gonna stick together because hey, this flabby ass little is better than nothing. I think that could be a little confounding variable. Now I don't know the percentages, and I totally agree with your point. I wonder if there are some things confounding that particular statistic is all. That was my only hang up.
Yeah. So I'll go one more stat. Men can still develop pair bonding at 9 to 10 sexual partners in their life. They are still capable of pair bonding. Women, the maximum they get to is 3, and then it almost drops off to almost nothing. Like they're like 15% chance to pair bond. And then if they get above like 7, it's almost impossible. Like they just won't mentally be able to pair bond with someone. So there is a difference in gender as well. The way your brain works, it does have an impact on. So I do wonder if that's also a variable that now more women are more out there.
And what do you know? We're having trouble pair bonding.
Yeah. And that's really what makes a marriage last is the ability, because pair bonding is what makes you get through the hard parts. That's what makes you get through the points where you're like, I can't do this. It's like what makes you push through that barrier. So I do wonder how that. I mean, I always got. There is something to like almost every major religion saying that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be like a lot of these religious things. Like one, you could say it comes from God, but there's also just some worldly wisdom that after thousands of years they noticed patterns of like what worked, and so they made it a rule. So I do wonder if that also like I don't know. Again, this isn't like a proclamation of anything, but it is there's a lot of things lining up, I guess, that I think is like it's probably best to at least delay it a little bit. I'm not saying like go 10 years and with one person and never, but
not within the first 5 dates.
And put it off a little bit,
That's a start. Yeah.
Which is crazy that I guess
it's such a low bar.
Yeah, that's the bar, but I mean it's but yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. What else we got here? Since it seems like we have pushed that. Ooh, this is. I thought this. I actually thought of you when I read this one right here.
That's scary.
Okay, tell it to me straight. What percentage of United States politicians do you think are corrupt? And I was like,
Let's do it. Preacher, give me a percentage. What percentage do you think are corrupt? And then Evil, I'm coming to you.
I'm gonna have a range.
Nah, pussy.
No.
Go ahead.
You'll see.
No, enjoy your range. 0 to 100.
If I'm trying to be optimistic about humanity and I'm trying to believe the best, I would say 70% of politicians are corrupt. If I'm being a realist, I'm probably hitting around 80. And if I'm having a bad day and I'm being sarcastic, I'm probably going around 90 to 95.
Okay.
So that is I do think, and I should say what they intend to be. Now, when I'm talking corrupt, I mean they know they're fucking people over and they don't care. They are intentionally lying to make themselves money.
So all of these numbers then are inflated if you throw in the ones that are slipping down the slope.
Yes, like people who maybe they have had to. Yes, they started with good intentions and have not.
They've not fully devolved into
Yes.
knowing that they're shit yet.
Yes,
But they're on the path.
yeah, that's that. I would say. I think people who believe, especially when we're talking. I also think the number gets inflated the further up the power charts you go. So like Congress people, senators, Supreme Court judges, presidents, cabinet members, that kind of stuff, like they're way higher on the corruption list than, you know, on a regular average than I would say like your mayor or your
Yeah.
you know, governors I could probably throw in there too, but like in New York, I would even say this: the New York mayor would be more likely to be corrupt than Johnson City, Tennessee, right?
Agreed.
Like,
Yeah.
so
The Orlando mayor compared to the Seminole County mayor.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I get that. I'm with that.
So, like, that's why I don't think I can't come up with a singular answer because I think it just, you know.
Let's make it just the national government stuff.
Okay. Then my low end would be 80 on the national. On a
Let's go House, Senate, Cabinet, Presidency. You know, judicial branch, the Supreme Court, justice, them, right? The pinnacle of politics.
Then I'm aiming at 80 to 90. Negative to positive, you know, like cranky to thinking, trying to think the best of humanity.
Eva, what do you think? What are your numbers?
I think the lowest number is going to be the Supreme Court.
Really, you think they're the least? I think they're the most right now.
As far as people who are, so nothing that they do can actually escape public attention. The Supreme Court, like that is the only sitting job that is like everything that comes out of there, everyone can see. That they're always writing, you know, whatever dissent papers and did all this kind of crap.
I'm with
now,
you.
now, whatever they do on the back end to like help people campaign or whatever. I mean, sure, yeah, but just talking about what they're doing as a sitting bureaucrat, I honestly think that they would be the lowest, and I would say that the bottom's going to be 60% on that.
That's they also have the least number. So I think there's at least 3 legitimately good Supreme Court members that are like they are constitutional and they stick by their constitution. They genuinely like want to do the law by the law, which would be
I hope you're right.
That means there's 6 that are like highly influenced by everything else. So that would be what? That'd be a 33%. So you're looking at like about 67% would be
sure.
So yeah, it'd be a little bit lower than on a national scale than the other ones, because the other ones again, I'm at 80. I'm saying 4 out of every 5.
So what about the the cabinet, the House, the Senate? What do we think of them instead? Let's remove the Supreme Court. What percentage of these others do you think are
Congress is shit. Like that's the House.
When
I think
I
like
look at the House and Senate, I'm like, that is where the muck lives.
Yes, I agree.
Like that.
they get away with the most and are held the least responsible for their choices and for breaking their promises. They break the shit they run on. They do the opposite so often and still get reelected. So it feeds not being honest and staying true, right? Like you have to really have some morals to stay in that setting.
So with the House, I'm gonna have to go up to like 98% because, like, even even when they're fucking voting on resolutions, you'll look into their bleachers and there's one guy like running around hitting, 4 different things that he can reach. It's like that. Just the foundation of what they do is just the complete opposite of what I say in the Supreme Court. It's like almost nothing that the House does actually gets watched unless it's like a hyper specific group who's making it their job to do that. You don't know what your representatives. I guarantee 85% of people don't know what their representative's name is. Now the Senate's a little different. You can recognize those people because they're rare.
There's 2 per state. Yeah.
But
hey,
yeah,
look, I'm just saying. One of my students last year thought Mark Cuban was our senator. All right. She was very convinced that Mark Cuban was the senator for Florida.
I mean, okay? Mark Cuban. Marco Rubio. Maybe there's some similarities.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Cubans in Miami. Maybe she just it kind of relates, right?
I mean, but he's here in Dallas. Like, what the?
That's funny.
No, I take your point. I think it's a very, very fair position to hold. I think I'm in the 95% range.
It's
plus or minus 2 to 3 for it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think very poorly of the Supreme Court right now, to be honest. I do. I don't know everything about them, but I know that since what was it, Citizens United? When the Citizens United decision was posted and they said, hey, rich people, you can use super PACs to donate as much as you want to campaigns as long as you are not in direct contact with the person. And they claimed that people should use their freedom of speech to spend money as they wish, right? That it would be restrictive upon the freedom of speech to restrict these rich people from spending money as they please. However, it was sort of ignored in the arguing that if Preacher over here has $8 million and I have $5 and Preacher spends his $8 million and I spend my $5, my speech is now no longer important, right? There's no relevancy to what I do or say with that money. It means nothing compared to what Preacher says.
It has to work. I mean, you'd have to outwork it.
That, though.
You would have to outwork.
I get why you do, but people's voices aren't the same anyways. Like you go down and find 2 neighbors side by side, they're not going to have the same amount of influence.
Absolutely.
They could have the same.
LeBron, he may not put any money, but if he says something on an interview, his voice is going to carry more than what we say on this podcast, right?
Absolutely. Is that good for us as a nation, though? That LeBron James has a greater voice on this matter than I do. Is that good for our nation? I don't know. But this is beside the point. I totally take that. We can talk about this, but I just wanted to say when that decision was made, 8 out of 10 Republicans disagreed with it. 8 out of 10 Democrats disagreed with it, right? Yeah. So like 80% of America thought that was wrong. And it was nothing was done about it. We just accepted it and moved on, right?
Well, so they just said that they could spend whatever they want. Did they make any kind of, like,
we've created super PACs where now you can donate as much as you want to the super PAC, who can basically campaign for the people as much as they want. You're
removing it one step, basically, is all you're doing.
That's exactly right. You're moving it one step detached to where, Joe Biden can stand up and say, I am against gun control and I am for abortion. And instead of this super PAC saying, we endorse Joe Biden because blah, 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 they instead say, abortion is your right as a human being. Guns are the enemy, right? And it's basically saying vote for Joe Biden, right? It's so in line with what he's saying. It's mirroring it, right? It's getting that out there that it's really doing almost the same job.
Here's my question. What is the counter to it? Like, do you how do you
The way
limit
it was before
without
was each
Okay.
person had an amount that they were able to contribute.
Okay.
Right? So it would be like, let's say for an election cycle, you can contribute $5,000 per candidate as you, right? And let's say, preacher, you have a wife and 2 kids who are younger. You can contribute 20,000 because you have 4 people that you represent.
Mm-hmm.
I can contribute 5,000. I have nobody. But that was how it would work, so that we have set a limit on the spending of money as expressing your speech. I think that system's better.
I can see that. I know one way they've been getting around that is they're literally, so they will get people to join like a political group, especially elderly. It was elderly that were reporting this happening at a high rate. And then they would get them to give like $5.
Yep.
And then they would take a lot more. Or they would donate in that person's name. And that person's like, no, my bank account, I can prove I did not donate $10,000 to this, but they were just using. So what they would do is they were just taking people's. I mean, it's like, I don't know that we would ever
using
stop
their names. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever stop corruption. You know what it is? The part of me is like, I don't know that it would just change. You know, I mean, I guess it's good. Make them make extra steps, and that's an extra chance to catch them doing it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a question of freedom versus like, yeah, because you go, well, do you want, should a rich person have their right to spend their money how they wish reduced just because they're rich?
Everything that then will, all the policies that
yes,
will go on.
Should they have the
will
extra influence? But also, is it right that just because they're rich, they now have less rights? Like they can't spend their money, like, because you're saying, well, these people can. I mean, they've only got 4,000, so they can spend whatever they want out of their excess because that's all they have. I don't know.
I think I would say that the root thing is that we are all equals in the democracy.
It's true. A poor person should have as much say as
That would
of course,
be
I don't know because a
position
lot of poor
on it.
people are poor because they're stupid.
You're absolutely right. Right? It's not a perfect position that I hold.
Yeah, no.
You're right.
Well, politics are never perfect, right? Politics innately are just it's going to be flawed because it's just.
But I think in the past the Supreme Court
Yeah.
strived for what was right, and they legitimately did their best.
How did the Supreme Court vote on that?
Anymore.
What was the number?
It was a 5-4. It was a 5-4 split.
Well, I said 3, so I said I thought 3. So one person surprised me. No, I mean I get that. Man, if we talk about politics, man, it's in corruption. It's tough because then you start getting into. I mean, it's almost already too late to switch it because if any side broke into, I'm thinking like. Whoever gives up first, they're just giving up their ability to bounce things. Just, you're going to get
which therein lies the problem. Yeah.
Because I was thinking like
honestly, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just thinking all the non-elected czars, right? You got the transportation czar, the communications czar, the Department of Homeland Security. Like, there's all these things that are just non-elected. You elect the president, and then there's like their cabinet used to be like 5 people that were like experts that they would bring in to help the president. Now it's like 45 people and all of their staff that all have this amazing amount of like authority, and it's like
I got to be honest. When Trump brought Elon in, I thought no one elected him. You know, not one person elected Elon to any position here, right? It says in the Constitution the president's role is to oversee this, and he may not give it to other people to do. And yet that the Department DOJ, that's what it is, right? It's overseeing the other stuff. And yet it says in the Constitution the president can't give that power up, and yet he clearly did.
Well, here's how he got around it, and I'll tell you how they did it. DOJ couldn't actually make any changes. They could just suggest changes to the president. So they said, here's what we found. They can hire an outside firm to investigate to see where the expenditures are, and then they were like, here's where the waste is going, do with this what you will. That's why Elon got mad, right?
Because he showed black box that Trump can't look into, and we don't know. I guess he could look into, but he's not gonna, right? He's just gonna see Elon did this, I trust Elon, yes, I sign, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, I do think Doja did pretty good. They put up on their website
Maybe they
what
did.
they found. It was itemized. They
Yeah,
just say, here's what we found. Here's the
fine.
corporation. Here's the group. Here's where they're spending. That's why we found out USAID was full of bullshit, right? Was because they were like,
You're
look,
right.
this is where they spent it. This is they put it up for everybody to see.
I'm not saying they necessarily did a bad job. They might have done a
Right.
great
You're just
job.
saying you didn't like
it
the
wasn't
principle of
their
it.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the question. I almost like getting outside sources because I don't trust people inside the government. It's like then you're asking them to police themselves. So you're saying now the people who are making the money off of the corrupt spending have to tell us that they're making money off of the corrupt spending. So how do you, it's like,
But
you know,
okay, so I
like-
think there's just as much a chance that the outside source is not good as good, right? You know what I mean? Like, how,
yeah,
how do we
I think there's
verify?
I get that, but I still think there's a higher percentage chance. It's not much higher, but there's a higher percentage chance that a third party is not. That's not
I'll
directly
give
in.
you 55-45.
Okay,
on that.
I'm willing.
I'm
Yeah,
inclined to-
I
I'll give you
accept that. I think that's
55-45.
correct. Because you're right. They could say,
not a-
well, if
not a
they
dime
could say
more.
they could tell the third party, if you find what we want, the next bill, there's going to be some things in there for you
Right.
that help
Right.
boost your. I mean, right? Because
Tesla will have a good year or something like that.
we just had a committee vote, 8-7, and I was shocked they passed it
Oh,
to
they did.
name the bill. It's called the Pelosi bill, and it is to cancel stock trading for Congress members, and it's going to go to vote by the House. Now, obviously, they're going to vote it down, but at least
But it's beautiful.
it passed 8-7. Like they barely passed, but it did pass. That's why I was
Fuck
like, well,
those
there's
7 people.
yeah, I agree. Like, because clearly you shouldn't be trading if you have that. That's like the height of insider trading, right? Like, you know exactly what's getting ready to be passed. That will have huge implications. I mean, but I agree. I don't know who the 7 people were, but they should be put on every newspaper front that these are the people who want to keep trading, you know. But I thought it was
Evil,
hilarious.
I do apologize for cutting you off. I think we both did.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Keep going. Yeah.
You're fine. Honestly, I've a little bit forgotten what
That's
some of the
okay.
points that I was gonna make, but I think opening it up to being a direct flow it means that it's gonna be a lot more visible, and I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that, and I think that this last election cycle kind of proved that just raising money and throwing money at social media influence and that obviously isn't as foolproof as a plan as we've necessarily believed in the past.
So,
I mean,
so maybe
didn't she raise like over twice what he did?
I have
and-
no idea. I was under the impression, and I suppose I believe this. I don't have evidence or data for it, but I do believe this. So maybe you guys can help me here.
Kamala Harris did raise twice as much as Trump, by the way. That is,
Yeah.
she raised like almost 100 million more than him.
I am of the belief that Elon basically purchased the election for Trump, and other Republican super donors basically purchased the election for Trump via tons and tons of money.
Trump got massively out fundraised by Kamala. Even in the tech sector, it was even with Elon, the tech sector gave twice as much as Elon did to
Okay, so I
Kamala's.
gotta
It-
look
it-
into it then.
It wasn't even close. Like
Yeah, it was-
in-
I
The
gotta
most
look
rich
fact
into it.
most rich people are now
numbers-
Democrats. Like that's the billionaires
Really?
of
I
the
gotta look
billionaires.
into that too.
They're the most billionaire donors are now Democrats.
That's why it's so fucking hilarious that you hear all these anti-capitalist things, and it's mostly these Democrats who are heading these companies that it's so dumb. It's so dumb how there's.
I mean, Elon
no
clearly
visibility
had
in
an
that kind of
impact
stuff.
because he also.
Sure.
The big thing about Elon actually was that he was tweeting a lot, and he has a massive Twitter following. So people saw his messages, and they saw what he and then of course, since he's such a big factor, the left would be like, "Look what Elon said," and then magnify his voice even more
Sure.
on top of it. And so I think that had as much of an impact on as his expenditures did. It's just that he is a highly visible vocal on one of the most like politically driven websites, right? Like social media, Twitter is absolutely a huge political back and forth, and he's probably the biggest voice on there because he owns it and he has, I mean, you know, every single post he makes gets 150, 200, 300,000 likes, and that's usually, you know, that's not even views. Views is like millions. So I think
I got to look into that stuff.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Everything you guys said, it sounds the exact opposite of what I thought was true. So I got to look into that.
And
Fair enough.
just one other point as well.
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge. I'm not gonna go out there and buy a Tesla and
No,
tout
no.
his name like he's some kind of.
I am not an
Messiah
Elon
or
worshiper.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't worship that guy. I also don't hate the guy. I look at what he does and say, okay, that's either stupid or it's good.
Yeah.
Trump actually bringing him into the office, whether he did overstep with authority or not, but the thing that I saw is that he actually brought in market experts outside of politicians that actively want to change things for the better. And Elon has stated multiple times that he's not a Republican, and I think even through the latest
now he's starting a third party, right?
The
American Party.
seen that. Like he always he marches to the tune of
I think that's
Trump.
I actually do think that's how Trump ended up winning. There's a lot of people who voted for Biden in the last one, like the RFK, the Kennedy people. A lot of almost like center left, and Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan voted for Biden in the last one. Rogan is not a conservative. He's absolutely not a conservative. But for this one, he fell on the Trump side, and that's a big voice. I think he got a lot of voices without having to spend money. He got people just because the left got crazy, right? Like, I mean,
you might be right, man. You might be right.
I genuinely think it was just the right weren't as psycho as the left for a little bit, and people were just like, we don't think the right's great, but the left has now gone so far into like extreme. You have to love trans. You have to love socialist. Like their big big stars now, right? Or like AOC, and what's the chick from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar or whatever, Omar or whatever. Like it's extreme, like basically hardcore communists, and people are like, I don't necessarily like the right, but I really don't like the left. I think if the left would just like mellow out, they would actually probably get a lot more of that back. But the funny thing is they've almost like doubled down now. It's been a really weird.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, if one gives in, they just lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not just the Supreme Court. I think that's pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere,
right?
Yeah. You have to. Unfortunately, it is causing everyone to double down.
Yeah.
What I find funny is that the liberal that I would have voted for. So after Obama went out, they did their primaries and whatnot. And I was like, I was actively looking at all of them. It's like, if I would vote for any of them, who would it be? Tulsi Gabbard. Guess where Tulsi Gabbard is now.
Yeah, she was a Democrat. Yep.
But she was rational. She was sane, and she couldn't even survive in her own party. Like it's just.
Well, that's the same thing with Kennedy, right? He was kind of. I didn't agree with everything he thought, but he was kind of rational. It was like I genuinely believe he wanted to make people healthier, and he wants
agreed. Yeah,
the middle of the
intention was there, even if some of the knowledge was lacking a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
the intention was there and was good.
I mean,
that's why I liked Ben Carson. Ben Carson was my guy.
Yeah, I like Ben Carson. Yeah.
And then he had to tell that story about trying to stab his friend with the knife, and the knife broke, and God held the blade, and I knew this is over. This is over. We're not ready for this kind of talk, man.
Yeah,
we're not.
No,
ready,
I agree.
But
I think a lot of people had an issue that he also said the pyramids.
Yeah.
So people manipulated that to say he thought they were built because of the famine in the Bible. He was saying they were repurposed. He thought they were already built, and then they used them as
To
granaries
store grain.
to
yeah,
store
I
grain.
remember
And people were
that.
like, "Oh my god, that's so great!" He was like,
Well, yeah, who
I didn't think it
gives
was
a shit,
crazy.
man?
I was like,
Who-
I can
who
see them
gives
like,
a shit.
yeah, like that. That is such a non-fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. But when you come to politics, right, everything gets
Right. Yep.
magnified by 1,000. Because that was the big thing about before. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Ted Cruz's stuff now, but when he was first starting, it was his dad was a Pentecostal pastor, and so they used that against him, right? They're like, oh, he believes in the supernatural and all that, and right, like, so they used that. It was like, but that doesn't. None of his policies are like, if someone is sick, we will cut their funding, but we will all pray for them in tongues. Like, that was never one of his policies. So it
Right.
didn't matter. Like, that wasn't it shouldn't factor. It didn't matter. It wasn't an important. Politics
Wouldn't that
gets
be
really
a
goofy.
policy? Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be just how do you?
Maybe
that
that's
one?
what you should do. Just go, just full bore, and see how it works. But yeah, we guys, we got political.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe Rogan, watch out. We're coming for you, buddy.
Hey, look, I'm just saying the chat at the end of this could absolutely set the record straight for us about, whether you're right or I'm right.
I'll apply.
They could
All right.
set the record straight.
That's so great. I appreciate it.
It's called elicitation. I heard about it recently.
Yeah.
If you want other people to tell you something, all you have to do is say the wrong thing, and they feel the need to correct the record. I've learned.
No, it's there's a I hate his guts. There is a conservative Twitter guy. His name is Cat Turd. He has the IQ of my left testicle, but he
I think
owns
you're
the
being generous.
he owns the left. But every time he said, he's just like, "You're a poo-poo stupid head." Like he has not made a valid. And people have started finding his stuff, and he will contradict himself. He will say like, "I firmly believe that this is the case," and then like 6 months later, he'll be like, "This is the opposite of that." Like he's clearly not consistent.
Yeah,
But he is like one of the biggest. He has one of the biggest followings, and he has an entire following of just trolls. They're internet trolls, and
He's
they
the
will
one that
harass
gives the
people.
right a bad name.
Yes, and so I agree. He is absolutely. I hate him because he will take positions that I think are defendable, but he won't defend them in any intellectual.
Yeah, he'll do a bad job
He'll
with it.
he'll
Yeah.
do the job that makes people hate that position. And so but I mean, that made me think of like he absolutely nice Guinness.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's what he does. He rage baits. Like it's really big on sports Twitter. People will do like even people who are in like say a Vols fan. They'll be like, "Oh, Josh Heupel's horrible at recruiting." Blah blah. And it's like, dude's having the best recruiting class that we've had in like 15 years, and they're just complaining about because they know people will have to. Well, let me tell you about.
Right.
This is and they get all the clicks, and all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They're making
And
money.
We're not rage baiting. We're legitimately seeking
Yes.
input and knowledge.
Yeah, I agree. I do.
the
I
authentic
would
best
love to
way.
see actual like discourse and debate. I mean, I know that's asking
In
a
the
lot.
way that we do it here,
Yes.
right? Like in our parlance, in our
Yes.
method.
I would love to see actual intellectual back and forth. That's fine, long as name calling is kept to a minimum. That kind of just that is not calling someone a poo-poo head is not an actual valid point. You didn't win an argument. But yeah, no, I'd love to see people actually like communicate underneath our videos. But I don't know how much faith I have in the YouTube community
Yeah, you're right.
to do that. But hey, if you can pull it off, I love it. Let's see. I mean, we were just talking about this. Here we go, Zuby. Heavy. This is my guy, man. You'll see me have so many of his stuff. Heavy social media use makes people meaner and more cynical over time. People get detached from their humanity and forget they're engaging with other humans. They start doing and saying stuff they wouldn't in real life. That's not much going on there. I didn't really expand much there, but I've observed this anecdotally over 2 decades. I like that he at least admits that it's anecdotal. It's one reason why I take a day off every week. I love that approach, and I think it's even if you let's say you feel like you need to engage to social media to some degree to stay, you should at least take a day completely off, like 1 or 2 days, just remove yourself. Give yourself time to reconnect with humanity and remember that everything doesn't exist in this weird, hyper exaggerated style that exists on social media. I think that's because I was thinking about what we talked about, you know, where you're saying one of your keys to a good life. And I was like, for me, I think it's maybe not completely cutting it out, but knowing how to engage
it's
it
possible,
properly.
right? It is possible
yeah.
to know how to engage with it. I think very
It's hard.
often-
And I think, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
You know, we're nearing. I think 98% is you know, 99 is more accurate on me for this one.
Yeah.
That 99% of users have an unhealthy relationship with it, and if 99% of users have an unhealthy relationship with it, I feel like I'm justified in my rule of just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, which is not to deny that there is that 1%.
yeah. I wonder if that's just because we haven't. Again, it's almost like as a society, it's developed so much quicker than society has been able to keep up with it, that we just haven't been like, you know what, this is a social, like, we should start putting social pressure on people to take break and to learn how to use it properly. Just
You're
kind of
right,
like
you don't do
alcohol,
that.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's fine if you go get drinks with your bros on the weekend, but if you're an alcoholic, we're like, oh, you should. That's bad. You're doing bad. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like social
It's
media needs to
remarkable.
have
I
that
don't
same.
think you're right. I feel like we also don't have that with weed anymore.
Yeah, I
right?
agree too.
I feel like but it's so paralleled. But it's
Mhm.
remarkable the different ways that we treat the two. You know, if you're just going home and getting high every single day, people, you know, they might think, it's not great, but there's no social pressure. You
Right.
know, whereas there is social pressure if you go home and you just drink every day. You know,
Yeah.
it's remarkable.
I agree. I agree. I think if you go and get sloshed, well, that's the other thing, right? Like, I can have a beer, and it won't even affect my a light beer.
I've had
It's not.
4 and I feel fine. This
Yeah.
is my 4th
It
beer,
won't
and I'm like,
cloud your memory yet. Like,
Mhm.
especially if you space it out over time, right? Like, it's just
Yep.
you won't get a high enough alcohol level. Whereas if
Yep.
you smoke a joint, if you smoke a whole one, you're going to be hot. Like, it will affect your mental processes. So I do think that's why I think there's a weird. I don't know. There's something to it there. I've tried to make this in my head. There is something there that's like you have to process it. Like, it is a different. And you know, if someone's sitting beside you and you're blowing a bunch of weed in their face, they too will get it, right. Like, but you can drink a beer by yourself, and it doesn't affect them. It's kind of the same thing with cigar smoke or cigarette smoke, right?
If you start spitting in someone's mouth, then you know they're
oh damn, oh my. Oh my.
Don't tell them what we do off the camera.
Say more, please. Oh my.
Let's see if there's anything else interesting, or we can just go ahead and. You know what? I am ready to go ahead and switch to.
You want to switch?
I mean, there's interesting stuff here, but we can.
Unless
switch over
Evil
to
has
the-
something. Evil, do you have any stuff for us here? Or are
no,
we-
no. I just gave you my grand contribution.
I know you did. It was wonderful. I
That-
appreciate it.
You're absolutely right.
I don't want to. All right. So our prompt of the day was you guys will probably remember better than me. I mean, like
I've
I
forgotten
remember
it
what
4
I'm
times.
thinking of it, but the actual wording of it. Go ahead. Let's see. You're good at it.
I've forgotten it 4 times. I'll do my best here. It was, what is something that you could change in your life that would benefit you the most? I
Mhm.
think was the first one.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
let's
yeah.
start there. Let's start there, and then we'll go from there.
This is my
Scratch
answer.
an itch.
No,
Is it?
me jiggling the fat on my tit.
Mm.
I do actually think.
But you're in the process, aren't you?
Yes, I am. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. If I could, that's why I'm doing it, because I do recognize me being. I mean, it's obviously it's like getting off of any other emotional addiction. There's good and bad. Like, if I would have just been strict about it, but it is but I am actually. I'm currently. I have lost weight. Like, even since last week. Like, I'm heading the right way, but I do think I was watching a video. Let me. I cut myself off, but I was watching a video this week from a doctor talking about it's not just the fat that's on the outside. Once you start getting certain kinds of, there's fat that is, there's a word for it, but it's up against your organs. and it will start to cause your organs to get inflamed and start to
Really?
have negative
Really?
effects.
Okay.
And I wonder how much of my digestive issues are. I know some of it existed when I was still fit, but it was not nearly what it is now that I am. Like, I have clearly gotten significantly worse since I've gotten overweight, and I do wonder how much of a lot of my physical issues that I have are related to the internal fat as much as just the skin visual. I do want, and like, I wear compression socks a lot because my feet will, like, I've always had bad circulation to my feet, even when I was fit. Like, if I'd run on a treadmill, I'm talking when I was fit, you know, when I was working out 2 hours a day, I actually looked like I had muscle, you know, you could see muscle. If I'd run on a treadmill for like an hour, my feet would be going numb because I always had bad circulation to my feet. It's only been exacerbated by me having, you know, not having as clean of blood vessels and that kind of stuff as it needs to be. You know, my lifestyle has definitely affected that. So I do think that would be right now, and because that would allow me to go out and do stuff. That would allow me to, you know, I wouldn't feel as locked in.
I definitely, like, I think about it, unfortunately, regularly. I promise I'm not creepy and parasocial, but I think about it somewhat regularly. For you to get out into the world more, and like if you had that in-person job, you know, wherever, no matter what it really is, but just in person with other people, I think it would be such a good, right?
I
And
agree.
I know that, you know, I think that would be just monumentally, like, positive change.
Could not agree more.
And I guess I long for that for you.
I
you know,
appreciate it.
if that makes
I long
sense.
for it for me. Like, I would say, and that's why we talked about this earlier. I think
Yeah.
you are giving me, you need to change this, and I agree with it. Like, and you do it
No,
because you
I'm
want to see
immensely
me.
proud of you when you
Yes.
tell me how much weight you've lost.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. I'm overjoyed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm hugging you. That's a hug.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Oh, careful.
Oh, that's
It's
true.
not
Sorry.
healed yet.
I don't.
How could- oh,
How about you? What about you? I've done mine. Either one of you. I'll let either one of you go.
Go ahead.
evil care to. Okay. What was the question? Sorry.
Something you could change that would be highly beneficial to you.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we mentioned it off camera, but I think I've had a generally what my buddy calls a cavalier approach to life, right? I think I stride in knowing the risks, but unconcerned about them, right? Quite often. Sort of an ideologue, right? Where I refuse to let the what is right go, right? Like, should the perceptions of others matter? And I think, no, they shouldn't. But obviously, to live your entire life with that as your driving force is going to cause you some problems, if that makes sense, right? So I think finding the appropriate way to temper my cavalier attitude is next on the agenda. Because like you say, you know, I am going to the gym, I'm building muscle, that's going really well, I'm feeling more fit, but I think that fixing this cavalier attitude and sorting out where I should have it and where I shouldn't is going to be really good for me if I can do that. Because I mean, and I think about, like, if I had a wife and kids or something like that, I don't think I'd have it because they're at risk then of my actions too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But right now, with it just being me and my two cats, I genuinely, what the fuck do I have to lose? I have God at my back, right? God will cover me. Even if this goes horribly, I'm good, you know? And I just think that while that approach might be admirable in many cases, I think it often leads to bad outcomes, unfortunately. So tempering that is my answer. There you go.
Solid. I mean, it's one of those things where they talk about fuck you money, right? Like, you have to be a certain level of rich to where you have to be so rich that if everybody turns about, you're still going to be fine. You know, like, there's almost like a point where it's...
I got fuck you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Is how I felt. You know what I mean?
Maybe make sure you put a comma in there somewhere.
Yes, please do. That would be great. Please do include that.
Go ahead, Evil.
I forgot to learn that one at Sunday school. I actually thought, splitting up the big guys would, make our points a little bit more different, but it seems like I'm closer to placebo here than I thought. So last week I put that making clear-cut goals for yourself
Yeah, yeah.
is the best way to improve your situation bit by bit, and that's just something that I fail to deliver on myself so much more often than I intend to. Um, I'll set loose kind of goals and just kind of meander in the direction, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that immediate gratification pays off, and there's donut right there that looks pretty good. So
Absolutely.
it's not adhering to or actually not even setting fine goals and giving myself that intentionality of like, this is what I need to do and this is how I'm going to do it, and that's just that's kept me fat, that's kept me single, that's the things that I don't have accomplished yet. That is my crux. I'm not planning for myself.
I gotta tell you, I love the intentionality kick you're on recently, to be honest, right? Like you brought it up a few podcasts. I love it. It really, it makes me feel good.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I used to be much more intentional on stuff, and this is where I get back to my body. I noticed that some of my plans would always get offset by physical issue. Like I'd want to go, and it started actually even graduate school when I was physically going to graduate classes, and
Right.
you'd have to be there for 3 hours straight. And obviously, with my digestive system, that's when it really started. Where I was like, okay, now I got to make up for this and make up for this, and it started making it to where it became more difficult to be intentional with goals because stuff would get in the way of that goal that sometimes it would be very frustrating. And so just like you, I started to fall out of intentionality, and I think that's why I agree with it. I think that's 1B. 1A is solving the problem, and then 1B is reintroducing that back into, because I used to have I'd wake up, I'd go to school for a certain amount of time, then after classes, I'd go to, say, my work study, and then after work study, I'd go to the gym and work out for 2 hours, then I'd go home, and then I would do homework, and then I'd have like 1 or 2 hours for enjoyment, I'd play a video game or something, who knows. And then I would, I had a very structured, and I would have goals, and this is what I'm accomplishing here, and that kind of started to fade the more that like having to use the bathroom and doing a bunch of other things would get in the way. And so yeah, I agree. Intentionality is absolutely vital to like anything in life. I'm
Yeah.
I'm just supporting you and saying I agree. I think that's also, I would like to
I
apply that
love
too.
the metrics in the gym when you're doing the curls, right?
Mhm.
You're doing, I'm curling 35, I'm pausing at the top and I'm really squeezing,
Yep.
and then I'm letting it go and I'm doing 10 of those. And then next week, could I do 40? Let's give 40 a shot. And I might only get 8, but I did 8 with 40. I
Mhm.
didn't do 8 with 35. I did 8 with 40. And it's just, I think there is these the tiny gains, but like in your mind, it's better,
Yeah.
just a little bit better, right? Um, I think the structure of working out for me has definitely given me that without me intentionally going about it. I got lucky into it. Um, but recognizing that it is doing what it's doing has definitely made me more intentional in other things, which is hugely beneficial.
That's
So
why
I
you see
love
a
it.
lot of these like life coaches on YouTube or social media. A lot of times what they say is going to the gym is a big boost to anybody's, like they think it's a part of living a good life, and I think that's a part of it. Even if it's unintentional, you start to learn at a smaller level goals, and then just setting it a
Yeah.
bit more, and then setting it a bit more. It gets it into your head, into your system. You get used to it, so then your brain starts thinking in those patterns, and it'll start applying it to other
Right.
areas of your life.
Right.
um and I think that's a big part, because I that's another element of it. I used to work out crazy, and then I quit playing sports like in a competitive level, at a professional level, and so that kind of, but I was still like, oh, I'm going to work out for girls and stuff, I want to look good, and then it
Sure.
just kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
then you had a real bad relationship or something, right? And you're like, I'm done with women. So then it's like, kind of, why am I even going to the gym? And it's more fun to play video games all day. And it just kind of, and you don't realize how that getting out of that habit, out of that brain space affects everything else.
There was so much like unknown positive cycles.
Yes. I mean, there's obviously physiological stuff that it helps your brain flow and helps mindfulness and everything else. But
I think you nailed it with the pattern is the thing, right? It's the good patterns, right? Like I talk about all the time, the negative cycles, right?
Yeah.
That we have. I think just building positive cycles is so much just the key, right? Just build positive cycles that feed into each other. You know, I think it's huge.
I agree. That's why they say you should be around good people, right? Like being around people who are motivated and succeeding and doing things, and at least has the right mentality, helps you because they also will talk to you and keep your brain in this space. And then if your brain's always in that space, all of a sudden something that's your life gets put in that space, and then you process it through that, and it's, you know,
absolutely,
it's a snowball effect, and it really is.
My sister's going into high school, and I pretty much told my mom, like, it's really important to me that she's in AP classes. I don't care if she's the dumbest kid in the AP classes. I don't care if she's getting D's in the AP classes. She needs to be around those people so that she realizes that, like, doing your work is normal.
Yeah.
Right? Being swamped after school because you have cheer and dance and then homework, that's normal, right? That's the system. Versus the fucking losers that are just like, oh, I'm not doing anything. Who cares? Whatever. I went home and, oh, I didn't do anything. Meanwhile, they're gooning for 4 hours, right? Like,
or playing games. Well, okay. I think I can do this safely because I'm not going to use any names. But so one of your students, right? When we used to play Overwatch together, I do remember them talking about, oh, we've got this assignment that's due tomorrow, and he was like, I'll do it. I will do it before I go into school. Let's just play the game. Like he made the choice at that point in time to play the game. Right. He didn't know gratification delay. He didn't delay he wanted it now, and so he made that choice, and then that kind of. I mean, I don't know that he did or did not get the. I think he ended up having. I
can tell you right now, I know who it was. He didn't do it.
Okay.
Right. No shot.
Okay, fair enough.
But even if we weren't playing Overwatch, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. That was just an excuse. Yeah.
When I moved all the shit out earlier today on the bulletin board, one of the few things still remaining there is a piece of paper where he took notes for a day, and it's like 5 lines. And he signed it at the bottom, and we wrote his only work, the only work he's ever done, and I put it on the bulletin, but it's still there, and I hope he sees it when he goes back in a few days.
That's great.
But yes, he did not do it.
That's okay. That's funny. Good, but well, not good for him, but you know the overall principle. But yeah, I mean, that made me think about that as an example.
Do you want to go on to the second question then?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think we've worked that one.
Second one's a doozy. What are you afraid of most in your life, or about your life?
Mm-hmm. This is I'll leave somebody else. It will take me a second because I was thinking about this earlier. Man, that's part of it.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah,
I
please.
will happily.
Please.
All right. So, my biggest fear, to be honest, is that my happiest moment is behind me instead of in front of me. That's my biggest fear. When I was a junior in high school, I was dating a girl named Bobby, who I was really into. I really liked her. And we were hanging out in my room one night, and her curfew was 10 o'clock. And we weren't doing anything. We were literally just watching TV. She was laying on my chest, and we were just laying there, and she fell asleep. She started snoring, right? I thought she would be mortified to know that I'm telling you that she started like snoring like pretty heavy, like man snoring, right? But I fell asleep too. And I woke up at like 1 a.m. and she was still just where she was, totally just snoring there. And that was almost certainly the happiest moment that I've had in my life thus far. And I'm terrified that it's never going to be replaced, if that makes sense. Right?
No, I get that.
Because I'm only 28. I got a whole fucking way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you are,
but
yes, young, fit, ready to conquer the world.
absolutely. But it does scare me because that was 2014, 2013, and it's been 12 years, and it's hard to say that anything's come close. Couple moments here and there.
Do you think that is because the way? How much do you think it was like our perception of it? Like it was just it's an innocent moment, so you're never going to be as wonderfully like innocent and in the moment as you were then, because as we age, we do kind of have a broader spectrum or perspective of time, and so or it just everything, right? Like it just we're more jaded ourselves, but also the people around us are also right. Like women are getting,
I think, to be honest, a lot of it comes from fear that there are many aspects that I'm engaged in that could not possibly deliver such happiness, right? Like pursuing my job will never give me that level of, I could be promoted to the president of the United States, and I could tell you what, that would still be my happiest moment, and it's not even close, So I suppose that's the concern is this thought of these other avenues, and where will it come from? That is, and I don't know, I really don't. The one moment that also sticks out to me that's close, my gym buddy, right, Jason, love the guy, right? He is twice my age. Dude is wise. He's smarter than me. He's better than me. He's just awesome, right? Lived in California. He was a CFO at a company that made huge fucking money. He is happily married. He has 2 kids. Moved to Florida because he was afraid of how California was going, the direction they were taking it. He didn't want to raise kids there, so he moved here. Last year, at the end of the school year, we did a little workshop, and I was with him, and they asked, what are you grateful for from this year? Give me 3 things that you're grateful for from this year. And the thing he said was, well, of course I'm grateful for Hunter, to have met him and to be a part of his life. And the words he used were, it has been life-changing, right? Life-changing to have that thrown in there. That felt good, that's big. And it's tricky because that was only 3 months ago. And I can recognize that it's big. It doesn't have the same impact that thing with Bobby did. You know what I mean? Like that's the fear, is like, am I mentally fucked up enough that is just going to linger as what was the greatest?
I mean, I will say, I think if you ever have another moment, you won't see it coming. I don't think those kind of moments are like, it's not something you can plan for. It's something that occurs. I think you can put yourself in position to experience good stuff. But also, I mean, we're all going to have some moment in our life that is and then nothing else will be. And so I do wonder if, like, the problem is trying to strive to hit that exact level, or just learning to be, maybe that's it, right? Like learning to find what is right now, and really digging in and allowing yourself to experience the happiness of this moment might be, you know what I'm wondering if that's the key to getting it. So I don't know. I don't think it's behind you. I still have faith that you will have it. I believe in you.
It doesn't even need to be a romantic thing.
No,
it's just don't know what avenue would bring it. But I think you're right. I mean,
clearly this podcast.
I took my grandfather to see F1 the other day, the movie. Me and my other Jason buddy, not my gym buddy, my mom's fiance Jason. We went to see F1, and I invited a few people, and I was like, well, I should invite my grandfather. We used to go see movies all the time, and I thought, and this was literally what was in my mind, you never know the last time you're going to do something, right? Or rarely do you know, right? It happens, and you might not have appreciated that it was the last time you were going to do something.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
And I need to make sure that the last time I do something here, I'm cognizant of it, so I can give appreciation to the moment, so that I can absorb it. It's a great line from Life of Pi. All of life is an act of letting go. The hardest part is just not taking a moment to say goodbye, right? That's what my focus was, and I think that's better. It's a better mindset than perhaps worrying that my happiest moment is behind me.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with that. I could.
Sorry, a bit much.
No,
Your
it was
turn.
great. That was fantastic. You're like, oh, you're all worried. I'm not gonna have anything to give.
I'm
You've
in a
been
bad
fun.
headspace right now. That's all right.
No one will be able to tell by watching the podcast. You've been
Appreciate it.
fantastic. What about you, Evil? You got one?
I do, and it's probably along a similar vein of things, but
Okay.
mine is this.
Oh, yes.
I'm out of the three of us. I think that I am probably the the one that desires the most to have a wife and children.
Right.
I think that there's something in me that's just coded. I have the male equivalent to the biological clock.
Yeah.
And I'm single and 35 now, and I'm no closer to getting a child now than I am when I was 18. In fact, probably further away from it. So the fact that I have not one but both of my my father and grandfather's marriage rings, I have a lot of I've got a lot of family pressure. It's not actually stated. But it's
that
there.
makes it worse, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah, a little bit. I honestly, I would almost feel relieved if my mother would make jokes about it, but
Right.
I think that's
Their worry is so legitimate that they're afraid to say. It's almost like, yeah, instead of being like,
Yeah,
you should
I
get
get it.
somebody. It's like,
exactly. And I'm on dating apps pretty consistently. And sure, there are plenty of girls that come and go through it, and they're wonderful. It's just, well, for one reason or another, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So I am I'm most afraid of waking up one day 20 years down the road and being exactly where I am now.
no,
Just
I mean,
great.
okay, so I have two things for you. I got two. One will make it worse. One will make it better.
That's how we do things.
All right.
First
here we
one
go.
is my dad had a friend, Randy Farrell. Loved the dude. He was actually ended up being one of my coaches in high school football. But I'd known him for my whole life. He was a really good friend of my dad. Like when they were in college, they lived together, good buds. He kind of did the same thing, and he ended up going through life. Never got married. Now, I would say I think he felt like he had a satisfactory life. I don't think he was like depressed. He actually was more worried that other people were worried about him being single than he was actually himself being single. But I would, I'm just saying it happens, but I don't know that that's necessarily, maybe, Paul seemed to be okay, right? Wrote most of the New Testament. He did okay. He never got married. But the other part is that people are getting married and having children later in life now. And so this isn't even the 1990s where everybody by 25, what are you doing? Women are, the problem is, especially in Western civilization, women are almost intentionally not getting hooked up. And sometimes it takes them almost their entire 20s into their 30s before they realize, oh man, I want to, it's not a burden.
Right.
This isn't the patriarchy. I actually want to be married and have children. And so what this does is it unlike before, it is pushing the availability of women who are still willing to have children a little bit later. So as you get older, you're still having more, it's not as difficult, right? Like you don't have, it is a possibility. You can find someone who they're just now coming into their own and they're still in your bracket. So I think you're taking steps. You're becoming more intentional. I know you're also
that's
losing weight and
exactly
stuff.
where I was going to go with it, dude.
I think you're going the right
really
direction.
Think, over the past 2 months, I've been immensely impressed, and you can take that for what it is. What the fuck do I know? But that's where I'm at, So I keep down the direction. I don't see any problems. But what? Why are you laughing at me?
I just almost start thinking about former girls. That's all. I just like,
Oh,
it's like, yeah. Watch it. Also, be careful. Just be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. You might get some that.
I was thinking I should have sent her his way. I think
Here's one who will
I-
definitely try to. Yeah,
I think he could have fixed her, man. I
maybe,
do.
maybe,
I think he could have fixed her.
maybe. But no,
Well,
I think you're good. Go ahead.
A part of what you're saying too is like I have certain standards for it as
Yeah.
well, and
Mm.
I mean I know I'm not, a 10 out of 10 here. Let's be realistic.
Neither are
but-
we, so go for it.
I also don't want a woman who's been through the meat grinder for
Yeah.
the 35 years as well.
Oh, I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
Totally get that, right?
And
Yeah.
it's such a prevailing theme right now that's what I'm finding whenever I go to
I
church
see.
is
Yeah, I
is
see.
like that's and
It was just a hoe phase.
Yeah, it was just a whole face of
Exactly.
130 guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
like-
I'm not accusing all of them like that, but I really don't want a woman that's already got 2 kids from 2 different fathers, like
And I think you should stick to that. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I admire that you have that as a standard.
Yeah.
That was why I'm not with Jessica anymore, right?
That's
So
what-
is you my
What-
my brother?
Let
my
me
brother.
ask you this: would like a woman who was married for a long time to a guy but got divorced, and she has a child by one guy, like she's only been with one guy or maybe 2 guys, her first boyfriend she slept with, and then her husband, and that's it. But she has a child by that one guy, but she hasn't been around the block. Would that fall? Which side would that fall on?
why'd she get divorced?
Fair.
It depends.
Let's say it's for a good reason.
Yeah, let's
it's for a
say
good
let's
reason.
say the man got tired and he has money and he wanted the latest model of pussy, and so
Yeah.
he left her to.
And we see so much of this he cheated, but he didn't actually cheat.
You're right.
So
You're absolutely right.
if it's something like that, then I mean I'm going to be a little hesitant, but it won't completely break the deal until I learn
Sure.
whether or not, hey, she's this kind of person or she's
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
It's the type of person.
is as
It's the type of
advertised.
person that you're looking for. It's not necessarily.
Right.
It's just usually women who have been ran through have a certain morality compass type personality. I get it. Like it's more of a situational. It's not necessarily.
Yeah.
The actual qualification. I get it. Yeah.
I believe in you, buddy.
I do too.
I
I think
really
it'll
do.
happen. Yeah, I agree.
Genuinely, from my heart, I do.
And I know that it's not like a ticking time bomb thing, but it just
No.
it
Our balls
feels-
were late into life. Let's go.
I,
No.
I feel it now. I feel it
Yeah.
now. So yes, I'm with you.
I think I'm probably overstressing it a bit, but now that I've gotten out of apartment into a house by myself,
you feel it.
I really do. Like I come home and it's like, oh, okay, it's just me and the dead cockroaches in the corner.
No,
Like,
I'm telling you. You see this?
Oh,
yeah.
You see this right here?
Is she cute?
As much as I would
Look
love
at how cute she is, dude.
Look
at her.
She's adorable for a kitty.
Oh
Yes, yes,
my
yes, yes.
goodness.
for a cat, she is
Come on.
She is a
You
very
want
good-
one.
Yes, yes, yes.
You want one. You want one.
so I it's funny
She
you
don't
would say
go
this.
with it.
I was
like
this
I like having
close.
both.
I was this close to buying you a cat outfit for Christmas. And
What the hell are you talking about, man?
oh
Well,
no,
no, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Placebo is a cat of human beings. Like Ply would be a dog. Placebo is a cat. I agree.
I do take. I'm.
Oh
pretty
no
low
no no
maintenance.
not. I meant a cat, an outfit for your
Oh,
cat.
I thought you were
not-
saying placebo was a cat.
No
'cause I was
no
like,
no.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, I
yeah,
can see
I was
that.
not.
No,
I was
I thought
not
you were
going
gonna
the furry
dress me
direction.
up as a cat. and
No. I was gonna get.
He's not gonna tell you where that-
like a
that,
little western
tailgate's in.
and have a cowboy hat for her. you know?
that's cute. Oh, that'd been cute. That would have been cool. Get an outfit for the cat. Yeah. No, I get
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I still I probably travel a bit too much to maintain
That makes
an animal.
sense. That does make sense.
Well, that's why I think a cat would
maybe-
be. Honestly, a cat would be fit that more than a dog, right? Because cats can
For
kind
sure.
of they're much more
Well,
self-sustaining than.
But
And
I
I
like
don't
my
travel.
furniture. Like, it's
Well,
just,
So there you go. Okay, then this is your own damn fault. You stack your you can't take your furniture with you, but you can, you sorry, I'm freaking her out because I'm yelling. You can't take your furniture with you, but you can build some companionship.
Yeah.
I did, but I got two cats, right? They're sisters because I knew when I got them I was in college and I was going to be gone at classes quite often. So that, if I'm gone, they can entertain each other, like
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
they're not just bored sitting there doing nothing. They have each other to play with. That was a pretty good system, but it's not a long-term solution. It is merely a
Yeah.
short-term,
Yeah.
it's drinking when you're feeling bad.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Cat.
No, I totally get that.
I've had some actual like thought about
Yeah.
adopting something. In fact, I'm not sure if y'all remember, but right as I was moving in, probably a little bit after that, found a we found a cat on the side of the road.
I do. I remember this.
Yeah, and I was this close
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Mhm.
keeping it. Uh, and she was a little cutie, and she followed me around, a little tabby cat. But yeah, no, I just uh, sitting there thinking about having to like replace things or decide to mutilate
Yeah.
kitten paws. Like I just don't,
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
really
I get
comfortable with
that.
that.
No, I got to be honest with you. I would not be comfortable declawing them, and I've taken the option. I mean, you should see my couch in there, right? Like the armrests on the couch are so fucked, right?
Yeah.
Just I mean, it's more white than blue, and the couch is blue. Yeah. But
Its
I
guts
got
are.
its guts are out, man. I did, however, I got them from a shelter, and they were like already spayed. Um,
Yeah.
I would never have gotten them spayed myself if they weren't ahead of time. Just it's the same mutilation, right? And I just don't feel comfortable with it. Um, so I understand the concern, and
Yeah.
I
understand
do.
I understand the spade a little bit more than the declawing because the spade keeps it's like future because it keeps other cats
I get it.
from maybe being made out there and then suffering and becoming it's so it's kind of like a future suffering situation.
I understand that
whereas
it's not entirely bad.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just I don't
You
I
just
don't
didn't
think
wanna
I'd
do
have
it. Yeah,
felt
yeah.
comfortable doing it to them.
Yeah. All right, I guess I'm the last.
Your
I mean,
turn, Daddy.
mine's the only one left, right? I'd say it's something similar to your guy. I mean, it's just time stops for no man, right? And
Yeah.
and I mean, like, it's kind of interesting. I do think about this. My mental, psychological maturity is probably on par with somewhere between placebo and evil, right? Like, I'm into Korean stuff because I'm just always finding new stuff, and but most older people my age are not into Korean variety shows, K-pop, because they're not, they're kind of set in their ways. I'm still a little bit, I still play video games some, though that could, I could adjust that but there is a bit like, time's ticking. You never know, and like evil, I don't know if I want 4 kids and grizzled vet mentality. And I don't know. I still haven't decided. I mean, I don't necessarily need. I wouldn't mind kids, but I also don't. I'm not in the like where evil's like where I want kids. I'm in a like if they wanted it, then I would be fine with it. If they're good, then I'm good. But yeah, it's just like you go. I wish I would have been here when I was 28. Like at this phase of my life, I wish I hadn't had about a 10-year period where, I had to figure. I wish I hadn't. I wish I would have figured out the direction I wanted to go, even in school, before I start, because like I got an MBA, right, a Master's of Business Administration, and even got an extra cognate in project management. But after doing that and going out into the world and kind of I was like, I don't like business administration. I don't want to do Excel sheets for the rest of my life. I don't want to. I mean, the best job offer I got right out of school was like a Dollar General store manager 45 minutes from I'd have to drive 45 minutes. It's like, that's not what I want. And I didn't find it interesting. I find communication interesting. I like that, like figuring out how to get information to people, what makes it click and makes it work, and how, you can make information stick with people better. And I like what I'm doing with this. Like, I really love what I'm doing with this company now, with Remote Warrior, how I'm working with them, doing white papers and going over and editing what their charts and whatever they put out, the stuff they put out to like convince people to work with our company. I like going over that and making it the most convincing it can be, finding little slight changes in a sentence can make a huge difference in how it gets, perceived. I love doing that. I wish, but I mean, part of me goes, is this just not part of God's plan, right? Like, this company didn't exist. Heck, it didn't exist last year, but it definitely didn't exist a decade ago.
The guy said you having him on the stream is sort of kickstarting a lot of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you needed to be here doing this to.
I thought it's like, it's crazy. Yeah. We're doing when me and Placebo had our kerfuffle, the great kerfuffle.
Absolutely.
It drove me into kind of getting into the streaming side of things, and then from that I met Ply. From Ply, we decided to do all he's actually the first person who met Blackjack. Which his name is Tanner. I don't know, but anyway, Blackjack. And so from that onto the pot, it's just like, so it's, maybe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I will find the person who will satisfy me perfectly, and I will be in the shape that I need to be in, and everything will be in 2 years, and it'll be like, you don't know, like everybody finds that moment of like, oh, I'm right where I need to be at different times. I mean, some people don't start until they're in their 40s. I mean, most people don't actually have their most successful businesses until they get in their 40s. The idea of a 24-year-old billionaire CEO who's, doing what he wants, like, that's very rare. Most people don't find their success until at least their 30s, right? Like, after you've had a few swings and misses. I just think you almost can't replace real life experience and learning and getting your ass kicked by doing things you thought was right or what, and be like, that is a valuable lesson that just you had to have driven in by life, anyway. It's like, wait, this motion, I mean, that's kind of true, pretty accurate as well. But
man, so get both in there.
yeah, right.
Oh man, real man over here. I wouldn't know anything about
it's
that.
Just,
real man.
yeah, because you guys are talking about, so old. I'm like, I'm the oldest. I'm the furthest along. And so yeah, I mean, there's always that fear that like, I just miss the window that I could be happy as that. But I don't know. I guess deep inside, I don't know that I did. I guess that's why it's not. I was struggling to find something I'm truly like afraid. My health, I do worry about. I'm on lisinopril now, and I know that if I really got healthy and really lost weight, I wouldn't have to be. It's not. I'm not on lisinopril to barely not have a heart attack, but it's not good. If I'm off of it for a long time, it's so it's just a health thing. Like I think that may be a genuine fear. Is just like
as long as we're not on insulin, I think we're in a manageable position.
Yeah, well, so even some people, I've seen some people, if they lose a lot of weight and really adjust their diet, have been able to even come back from needing insulin.
There have been a few studies out there that do support
if you
that.
if you really fix, right, like you have to really fix it, but yeah, I agree. Last time I took my blood, it was like, I think blood sugar was like 84, and 100 is pre-diabetic, like you're not even full diabetic. So I'm most, and you don't want to go below 60. 60 is low, like then you're at low blood sugar. So I'm kind of like right in the middle, and it wasn't even a full fast. It was I literally ate went to sleep, and then when I woke up, I took my blood sugar. So it wasn't, it may even be a little bit lower than that. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything that's like drivingly like I have fear. There's just some things that I'm like, you wonder, you worry. That's why I said I almost have regret, but I don't even. We talked about it. I don't think I would even say I regret, because I think I am today who I am, who I'm happy with.
Yeah.
For the most part, other than weight and some, but for the most part, I'm happy with because of how I've had a lot of life experience. I've went through a bunch of different things. Like, I'm even going to be able to probably help the company I'm with now with nonprofit stuff that they're getting into. They're starting their nonprofit side because I've had years of experience in ministry. I've had experience with nonprofits. I know the vibe and what they look for, and so it's like, I've been through a lot, and so I don't know. I'm not fearful, but there's a little bit of regret or whatever. But so yeah, I worried, maybe concerned.
Well, maybe that should be our next homework then, is to find that one key moment in your life that you do actually regret, and kind of imagine where you would be if things did
We
turn out
talked about. I was
differently on
like,
Ricky, yeah,
would regret or wish it would have went slightly differently.
So
'Cause
yes,
have a
I
hard-
agree.
I mean, I feel like that is regret. I mean, I feel like if things did not, like, if that's the linchpin that you can point to and say,
Like,
things
dude.
would be different right there. Like,
Can all right. I mean, I think the drive that I feel right now is quite high, right? The highest I've ever felt. Drive to succeed, blah blah blah, whatever. Push myself, right?
Mhm.
Be better. I think a lot of that is because I've been going to the gym for the last 7 or 8 months, right? I think that to some degree my body's playing a trick on me, and I'm more than I have been because I've been going to the gym. Um, I I I regret, if this makes any sense, that my parents were not driving forces in my, like, I was a stupid kid who needed to be told, shut up, do your work. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Okay.
But having no father in the house, I got, you are loved, you are cared for, and I got
You didn't have the two sides. Yeah, I
You
get
didn't
it.
get
I
the
did not.
discipline. You got the
Absolutely.
forgiveness. Yeah.
And if you look at how large chunks of my life have gone with the women I've had chances with, I've been undisciplined in the relationships, right? And a lot of them are my fault. And I think it all stems from that, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
is it a regret that I am not, I was not at 18 who I am at 28? Can I establish that
Yeah.
as a regret? But it wasn't an option, so how could it be a regret? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it's a great question. But
I was gonna say, I
that's
don't
where
know if
my
I
mind
have
goes.
any singular moment like you're saying. I don't know if there's anything that I'm like, if that would have went differently, everything would be different. There's maybe like
Yeah.
something would be slightly different, or I still think I'd end up, because the choices I made then were based off of what I've done up to, like. So if I didn't have a negative experience in the past, something that went,
Right.
I would have made that mistake later on in a different spot. Like I learned from it. So it's like, I don't know if I could miss anything. I think everything would have eventually hit me one way, or I would have made that mistake and learned that lesson at some point in time, because it's like, because I didn't learn the lesson until you had that experience. I wouldn't have learned the lesson. So it would have like hit at some point in time.
So what if it didn't necessarily change like your outlook on life, or just, I guess, overall confidence in who you or what you are now, but
Yeah.
just something that if you could actually change, like, would be a net positive that was significant enough for you to remember.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm really kind of keying on the point that's just, we tend to remember, three things the most, and that's our largest desires, our biggest regrets, and usually the memories of our gone loved ones. Um,
Okay.
and whenever I think about, like, something that's involved with regret, it's my late father. Um, I remember getting two calls that day, and the first one was from my mother, who in first she told me that he wasn't doing he was in the hospital for probably about 6 months.
Did
Um,
you know that it was coming?
so no, and in fact we were completely blindsided by this as well.
Yeah.
In fact, like it was like the after the 6 months, he was in like a recovery center, um, like dealing post-op with just having some like leg issues because they
Yeah.
had to like
Yeah.
go in and remove a bit of bone. There was like
Okay.
some necrosis. Um,
But
but
small stuff.
yes, and they went in for just like a regular checkup into the hospital, and that was when a small blood vessel in the back of his brain ruptured, and they didn't know what was going on. Um, and I got the initial call, and she was like, you don't have to come up here. So I was like, okay, it's fine. And just I just kept playing video games, and then
Yeah.
like and I'm just sitting there like looking back on moments of my life
Yeah.
that I could have just given him 5 more minutes out of my day. Just
Right.
said, hey, Dad, I love you. But
No,
stuff like that that
yeah.
won't actually change my outlook on life or who I am as a person. But I would just feel so much better about
Yeah.
having resolved something like that. And
It's a
that's really what.
fantastic question. It really is. It cuts to something very, very serious, and core. Um, it's really it's honestly tough for me because I have never had a loss like that, you know?
Yeah.
I've had my mom's side of the family. So I have my mom, her brother, and their three kids, and then their parents, my grandparents. My whole other half of the family, I don't know, and I've never really experienced loss on that side, because I have a smaller family. Um, so none of my regrets would be like that because I just haven't experienced it yet. I will say to some degree, I'm proud of myself for inviting my grandfather to the movie the other night and trying to make a focus of this is the 5 minutes, right? And the credits rolled and we were all talking and I asked, so Papa, what'd you think of it? And he said, I thought it was very good. I'm very grateful that you all invited me, and I got to go get an F1 car. And I was like, that's wonderful. That he had a good time. I got to share that with him, and that was really special. Um, and I'm sure that there will be regret in the future when tragedy strikes. But as it is, the biggest loss I've had was of a cat, you know, and that is not the same, it is not even close to the same.
Well, for
Um,
some people, who it is,
I
but yeah,
suppose you know what? That's not actually true. The biggest loss I had was Dominique.
okay,
Even though it was half my fault, half her fault, um, that one that's the biggest loss I've had for sure. Actually, the more I think about it, the more immediately regret strikes me. The more poignant the regret is, the more I think about it. Um, and it's tough because there were things that she did not do right in the relationship that she was never going to fix ever, ever, ever,
yeah.
ever, ever, ever. It was always going to be that bad. Um, and yet I feel regret for my half. But I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. It's definitely something with I suppose we could tell that story on another podcast, but I'd be here talking for 50 minutes, so I don't know.
I'll be the first to admit I don't know what necessarily it was about her, but I don't think we rubbed each other the wrong way,
I can
or
tell you for sure you and her rubbed each other the wrong way.
okay,
I mean, she rubbed my family the wrong way. they felt uncomfortable whenever she was coming by because she thought that all the cats had fleas because there were a lot of cats. But like we had no signs of fleas, and I thought, well, certainly there would be signs, right? And there were never any, but she was convinced. So it wasn't just you, you know, but yes, she rubbed many people the wrong way.
And see, I view myself as a very temperate person, and I can make friends out of enemies. And she was one of the few people that I could make
Yeah.
no progress with.
No,
Like,
so,
and in fact, it
yeah.
seemed the harder I tried, the worse things actually got.
Dude, it's preaching to the choir, man. It took me like 7 months to get her to really talk to me in any like amiable, friendly way, you know. Took me like 5 months after that to get her to agree to a date with me, you know. She was a lot of work, man. It was not just a you and her thing. She was a lot of work. Welcome back,
That's fair.
preacher.
Oh, that's fine. I was listening. It was good stuff. I was like, well, I got time.
Yeah.
They're going. But yeah, no, I mean,
Anything? Okay, I guess anything that you regret that wouldn't change your core as a person.
Yeah.
I think that's really what we kind of.
yeah.
I wish Dominique and I could have figured it out. Absolutely, I wish we could have made it
Of course,
work.
I do think some of the stuff you said with Dominique, I don't know if it was in. I don't know if you could have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it was in your
wasn't only
power.
me that was
Yeah.
at fault, right? She would have needed to change a little bit too.
Yeah.
But,
And if they're not willing, I mean, that is part of like life, right? You just
Absolutely.
go, man, that would have been great if only.
And that is exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been great. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she took me to task on every little thing that I said wrong, and it's like, dude, I love that. I really do. Right? It made me so much better. But
You're almost a masochist. Almost.
I've said many times off camera, you know, after we broke up, when people were mean to me, I was almost like, this is home. You know, this
Yeah.
feels. It's like, please, please be a little mean to me.
Funny. Yeah. I think mine's similar to the Evils, like with my mom. I wish we were trying too hard to make her feel like we were being positive because we were still like, come on, you can fight this and whatever. But I wish I would have taken more time to be like, just because I did once she was already kind of like, we could tell she was on morphine in the bed, not really there, but you're hoping they can hear you through it. I wish while she was still cognitive enough, I could have had like a full on like, you know, love you, you've done so much for my life, and blah blah blah. So give her the full like, I'm gonna make sure I
Truly say goodbye.
yes,
right?
truly say.
Yeah.
I wish I would have taken the time to do that. I mean, like I said, I always loved on her. I always kissed. I made sure she felt loved the whole time, but I never had that one real good like. And I did. I mean, like I said, she was still alive when I did it, but you don't know. She wasn't like here, you know, enough that you were like, okay, I know
But
she's processing what I'm saying.
You're a Christian, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yes, I agree. No, it doesn't. I'm not like super heartbroken because I do. Yes,
Yeah.
I do have that
Yeah.
belief, and I do feel like, you know, she knows, and she's, you know, she's in a better place. She's definitely in a better place than she was when she was, you know, she was having some definite physical issues, and just, you know, there's relief. But yeah, that would be the thing that, like, if you were asking me regret, that would be, yeah, it wouldn't change who I am as a core person, but I wish I'd have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will give you, we'll figure out some homework for next, but we've already been at 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and kick us. Next week, we will have another brilliant, heart-wrenching, deep
I
podcast.
think this was pretty good,
it was
man.
great. It was great. I
Just
think we've had
really
2 back-to-back.
solid.
I think this system we have right now is, we start off.
And I'm just saying, thank God Evil was here to help.
No,
you
he
know?
was-
because there was a question as to whether he was.
Yes, I
I'm
think
grateful
Evil
to-
was absolutely a valuable part in it.
instrumental.
I literally just had a minute where everything was frozen on my screen, so I have no idea what y'all were just talking
We're
about.
just talking about how you were being good. Thanks, appreciate being
Nothing.
here.
We weren't talking about
Cool.
anything at all. Don't
Cool.
you worry
But
about
to
it.
be fair, you sold yourself short. You did fine, Felicity. You did about as good as normal. I didn't notice it. You were
Yeah,
thoughtful and
we did.
introspective, and so I think you would have been fine too. I actually think, you know, we have a good crew that we made it. I mean, 2 hours just talking. That's what I imagine this podcast being. 2 hours of genuinely good, meaningful, interesting conversation. We start off a little fun with the boys, looking at some social media, ha ha ha, and then we get into good stuff once everybody's warmed up and in the groove. So appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys watching, the ones that are at home watching. Thank you. Keep doing it. Keep likes, comments always help. And have a good week. I'm gonna start us off on our exit music venture here.